Today's episode features a submerged temple of a vanished civilization, where scientists have discovered a unique architectural object. How is it connected to the eighth wonder of the world, the Al-Khazneh Mausoleum in Petra, and the adventures of Indiana Jones? Two altars from a white marble hall, hidden underwater. Italian archaeologists hadn't even dreamed of such an incredible discovery. In 2023, just 50 meters off the coast of Puozoli, they uncovered the ruins of a sunken temple. Initially, they believed it was a sanctuary of the ancient Romans, located at the bottom of the Gulf of Naples. However, there was one catch. An inscription carved in Latin on the stone slab read, "Dedicated to Deshara." Historians immediately understood who was being referred to. Deshara is the supreme deity of the Nabateans, a vanished civilization of nomads from northern Arabia and the southern Levant.
This is quite ancient civilization and ancient people, first mentioned as early as the 3rd century BCE. Now, the Nabateans have Arabic roots in their origin, but spoke Aramaic. They were pagans and did not depict their gods as humans or animals. Primarily, these were stone cuts. In other words, they worshipped stones as such.
Initially, the Nabateans led an exclusively nomadic lifestyle. They did not build cities, preferring to live outdoors. On sun-baked lands, skilled horsemen moved on horseback and camels. But even if an enemy somehow located them, the Nabateans could hide for months in sandy caves or underground catacombs. After all, they stockpiled the most important resource in the scorching desert: water. This ancient people knew how to extract and store it even in hot climates.
They developed a technology for obtaining water not only from rain, but also from condensation. They built special aqueducts, canals, and underground reservoirs. The desert thus served as a peculiar fortress where these water cisterns were hidden, allowing them to remain safe for extended periods.
Gradually, these elusive Bedouins settled down and founded a kingdom with its capital in the city of Petra. The Nabateans themselves called it Rakhmu. The nomadic tribes quickly transformed into prosperous merchants. Caravans carrying valuable spices traveled across the lands of this ancient people from the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. Sometimes the journey to Mediterranean states took several months, and travelers with valuable cargo had to make stops in the desert. Caravan routes passed through the kingdom's capital, Petra, and the city of Hegra. Their trade policy was structured such that caravans moved from fortress to fortress. The Nabatean kingdom ensured the safe passage of caravans. This attracted many merchants, but in return, they had to pay a substantial duty. By the 1st century AD, the Nabatean kingdom had reached the peak of its prosperity. Its advantageous geographical location was complemented by a beneficial alliance with the Roman Empire. The empire protected the former nomads from raids by neighboring tribes, receiving a share of their trade profits in return. It is probable that these business relations with Rome led the Nabateans to the territory of modern Puozoli, off whose shores the ruins of the sunken temple were discovered. During the Roman Empire, this port city was called Puteoli and was considered an important trade hub. For the Nabateans, who transported precious stones, ivory, rare incense, and spices from the Arabian Peninsula, it finally opened the way to Western markets. The merchants lived in the Roman city and worshipped their deities in the local temple. However, there is no basis to assume that the Nabateans themselves built this ancient sanctuary. They might have occupied an already existing structure. Researchers have estimated the approximate age of the sunken temple to be around 2,000 years. Most likely, it appeared either during the reign of Roman Empire Octavian Augustus or slightly later under Trajan of the Antonine dynasty.
Its architecture exhibits a mixed Greco-Roman style It was built at the very time when the Nabatean civilization flourished. The Nabateans had made their mark in the Roman Empire. They were still free people then, but they also actively traded. In essence, it was kind of trade representation of the Nabatean civilization within the Roman Empire, right in its center, so to speak, not far from Naples.
Besides the ritual stone dedicated to the deity Dashara, the temple offers another indirect indication of the presence of foreign visitors. This is the layout of the submerged sanctuary. Its exits led directly to the center of the district where merchants from distant lands once settled. But the ancient people's trade ties with the Mediterranean were quite quickly severed. By the end of the 1st century AD, the inhabitants of Arabia fell under the Roman Empire's protectorate, and by 105 AD, they definitively lost their independence. This marked the beginning of the end for the Nabatean civilization.
Emperor Trajan conquered the Nabateans, who were not able to offer strong resistance to the Romans, and annexed them to the Roman Empire. This had a negative impact on the economic development of the country. Trade routes shifted from Petra, the capital of the Nabatean kingdom, to Palmyra, located in modern-day Syria.
After the Roman annexation, the wealth and power of the Nabateans vanished into thin air. The cities of Petra and Hegra gradually fell into decline. The new rulers imposed enormous taxes on the people. There was nothing to pay with, as the merchants had lost their profits. A couple more centuries later, almost all the inhabitants abandoned the Nabatean kingdom.
Around the 3rd/4th century AD, a significant earthquake occurred there, destroying a large number of aqueducts, communication systems, and canals that had been built over years by the Nabatean civilization. This led to drought and the decline of the Nabatean state as such.
However, the legacy of the Nabatean civilization has not been lost. In Petra, now part of Jordan, the astonishingly beautiful Al-Khazneh temple is preserved, which translates from Arabic as the Pharaoh's treasury. Historians believe that almost 2,000 years ago, the Nabatean king, Aretas IV Philopatris, ordered a mausoleo to be built for himself. The tomb was become a true masterpiece of ancient craftsmen. The structure, nearly 40 meters high, is entirely carved into the rock, not from the bottom up, but the other way around. This method of working with hard rock was widespread in the Middle East and Africa. Architects used stone protrusions in the rock as platforms. Gradually, they descended, transforming the former stone supports into sculptures. The sculptures of Al-Khazneh are not fully preserved. On the upper level depicts dancing Amazons with axes, and on the roof are eagles, which according to legend carried away the souls of the deceased. The Nabatean Mausoleum has long been called the 8th wonder of the world. Today, it's on the UNESCO list of monuments. To see this unique structure, tens of thousands of tourists from all over the world visit Petra annually. Al-Khazneh owes its popularity in part to Hollywood. It appears in one of the Indiana Jones films. The beauty of the monumental structure so captivated audiences that crowds eager to see it with their own eyes flocked to Jordan. Far from all secrets of the ancient structure have been revealed. Scientists cannot say who carved the mausoleum into the rock, or if it ever served as a royal tomb. Archaeologists have found no sarcophagus inside, and, judging by its architectural features, the tomb might not have been built by the Nabateans at all. A distinctive feature of Al-Khazneh is that it's built in a Greco-Roman style. In the 1st century AD, the penetration of civilization from Greece and Rome was not as strong, and the nomads, who constituted the majority of the Nabatean state, were not in essence builders, and did not know the rules of architecture that were prevalent in modern-day Europe. Now, historians face new questions, this time about the past of the Nabatean temple in Puozoli. It is currently unknown when it ended up underwater. The ruins are being meticulously studied. Two factors complicate the research. It's impossible to lift the giant pieces of marble from the bottom of the Gulf of Naples. Furthermore, a thick layer of magma hinders a good view of the slabs. In the past, volcanoes erupted in this region, and some of the molten rock solidified on the stone walls of the ancient structure.